G'day, mate. How are you, brother? Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Let me just send out the notifications. We're whipping this together real quick. How are you, Mr. Nice? Good to see you. Good day, Mickey Ward. How are you, mate? No video at the moment because it is literally happening right now. It is passing through the house right now, Mickey Ward. YouTube. No intro. We haven't got time. I got to go to work after this, so we're going to do it quickly, and we're going to cover all the news. There's a lot of news happening right now. It literally passed a minute ago, so there wasn't enough time to wait around and make a video. There's a lot going on. What's up, Simply Kudos? How are you, man? All right, guys, good morning. We got two bits of pretty big news that are happening at the exact same time. Why are you not asleep? It's 6:30 in the morning. It's 6:45. Would you ever be down to do a stream while at work? Yeah, I would. I've done them before, back in the early days of the channel where it was just me and Weston and one or two other guys. I've done them before. So, two bits of big news that we've got to get to, and the only person covering this news is Luke Thomas. And I know that you guys don't listen to Luke Thomas, but I do because he is the last journalist left in MMA. So at least I give him his credit for that. TKO met with the Senate today to get through their new boxing bill passed, which was very, very ambitious of them, considering that they've got their first show happening literally in 2 days for an organization that wasn't even legal. This sheer hubris of not the UFC, the sheer hubris of TKO to go ahead and start signing fighters, set up the event, get the belt going, release a promotional trailer, sign a contract with Paramount before what they wanted to do was even legal is insane. How are you, Noob Cake? Good to see you this morning. But they went ahead with it anyway. They believed that it was going to get through. Luke Thomas actually went down to DC, which isn't too bad for him because he does live down there, and he covered it live. So as of 4 minutes ago, the amendment is approved, and TKO's Ali Act bill passes the committee with 30 yeses and 4 noes, which means that TKO are going to be able to set up Zuffa Boxing. And boxing is going to change. No one pushed back on it. Only 4 reps pushed back on it. All that has to happen now is that it's got to get sent to the White House, I believe, and get signed. That is it. The only changes that were made is that fighters need to be paid a small fee while they're waiting for fights. I believe it's $2,000 a month. The fighters need to get paid while they're waiting for fights. But that is it. Only 4 senators pushed against the bill. And like we said, it happened literally 4 minutes ago. It happened literally 4 minutes ago while I was driving home from the gym. I didn't know if it was going to pass. I didn't know how long it was going to take them to deliberate. So I decided rather than sitting around, we would just go live for it. But that is not the only breaking news that is happening right now. There's 2 bits of breaking news that is happening right now. The PFL is falling apart right now. How are you, Paul? Good to see you, man. I hope that you're good. Jaranzino Rosenstrike is also under arrest. That is true. Ex-UFC fighter Jaranzino Rosenstrike was arrested in Florida on a pair of charges, including 3rd-degree felony for false imprisonment. I don't know what's going on with that. We'll see what happens with that. Well, I know. Also, in the breaking news, the PFL is falling apart. It is falling apart. So Don Davis has left the PFL. He was, I guess, the chairman, the founder of the PFL, which is really bad for fighting organizations. Like, generally when fighting organizations are building and going down, it's the same president that looks after them the entire time. Hashtag free Rosenstrike. You don't even know what he did yet. Hats off. You don't even know what he did yet. But Don Davis has left. And not only has Don Davis left, but Jake Paul has left as well. Jake Paul has left the PFL. He signed a massive deal with the PFL 3 years ago. Jake Paul has left the PFL as well as Don Davis. And I hope you guys remember this. Francis Ngannou was looking to come back to the UFC as well. So the PFL seems to be in absolute shambles. Did we put the longest week streak on Anderson's intangibles? I woke up and worried we had not put it on. I don't know. We'll cover that tonight, mate. We'll cover that tonight. How are you, Nacho? Good morning, man. Good morning, dude. Free my boy. That is so unfair. Let me turn the intro music down. We've been introed enough. Free my boy, that is so unfair. You don't even know what Jairzinho did. How do you know it's unfair? What a shock. Jake Paul left the PFL after meeting Dana White. He met Dana White. The next day, he leaves the PFL. Don Davis has left the PFL. And, of course, in the rest of the news as well, thanks to Luke Thomas, the only person that has actually bothered to cover this story at all, the Ali Act is official. And it is going to be happening. The Ali Act is changing. With the only change made to the Ali Act is that... Where is it? Wants fighters to be able to talk to other UBOs. They have to arrange a fight for the fighters every 6 months. And they must pay the boxers, that's a typo from Luke Thomas, $2,000 a month, while TKO Zuffa Boxing is not getting them a fight and trying to limit TKO Boxing's contract to the fighters to 6-year terms only, which is still a very, very long time. I believe right now the longest contracts in the UFC are 7 years. So she managed to give them a little bit of money to sit around waiting while Zuffa Boxing gets them a fight, and drop their contracts from 7 years to 6 years. I'm assuming it was going to be 7 years. Because that's what it is in the UFC, and I believe TKO Boxing, Zuffa Boxing, is setting everything up over there exactly the same way. But it has passed the House. Boxing is going to change. There were only 4 senators that voted no to the bill. All that has to happen now is Donald Trump has to sign the bill, and it's all done. So crazy. Boxing is actually going to change pretty significantly. PFL is out of a business in 2 years. I always said by 2030. Last year, I said there was a 5-year death clock on the PFL. We might have to speed that up. I'm going to stick with my prediction that the PFL is completely out of business by the new year, 2030. Bro was never going to fight in MMA. Jake Paul was never going to fight in MMA. I know, it's an absolute joke, man, but it just goes to show how successful the PFL was at wasting money. Trump's mates got the act through. Trump's mates got the act through with great success. Only one little tweak was made to the bill. I don't care what they're saying Jairzinho Rosenstrike did. He didn't do it. I guess we will get Dakota Ditcheva sooner rather than later. Yeah, so this is a very big year for the PFL. This is going to be make or break. They no longer have their CEO, Don Davis. They'll have Francis Ngannou publicly saying that he wants to leave and go back to the UFC. And they've wasted just a phenomenal amount of money to take a photo of Jake Paul in MMA gear. How are you, Combat Catholic? How are you, man? I have found a shirt, and lucky. It was very muggy this morning. Dougie, if you were in the Senate, would you have voted for or against Zuffa Boxing? I absolutely would have voted for Zuffa Boxing. I know that people like Luke Thomas are going to say this is destroying boxing and going to monopolize boxing, but boxing is dog shit. Boxing is absolutely dog shit. And the only thing that has been good for boxing lately is essentially a monopoly coming in, right? Turkshay Ali has just come in with a huge amount of money and just made shit happen and put it on Netflix. Now, if Turkshay Ali didn't come in swinging his dick around with a big amount of money, boxing would have continued to die off like it was doing in the noughties, in the 2010s. It was dying off until Turkshay Ali came along and started mixing things up. I see Zuffa Boxing as a great thing for boxing. The sport needs to be uniform. There's no point having 1,000 different promotions where you've got these different weight, like you've got a 180 pound weight belt and then a 188 pound. I think there's a 160 pound weight belt, and then I saw someone else say that there is a 168 pound weight belt. Like, what the fuck are we doing in boxing? It needs to be cleaned up. Seems like Rosenstrike was John Jones maxing. The old beating of the wife. Having slaves would streamline the fight game. Having slaves does streamline the fight game. Good morning, Shyla. How are you? How was this bill? This is the law that the UFC needed to change to create Zuffa Boxing in America. Again, it is insane that Zuffa Boxing went and dropped a trailer, signed fighters, had Paramount sign over money for this entire bill before it even got passed through the House, but it has been passed through the House. Are you on top chat? No, I'm on all chat. I'm on live chat. I'm on all chat. Jake did his best takedowns in his boxing match. I mean, now we know Jake Paul would have been able to throw takedowns. We've seen it in the boxing match. Doug, you should pull up some money from your community and try and purchase the PFL. No, complete waste of time. People don't want to watch it. Well, either way, there is going to be all these other belts. They aren't going away. Yeah, I know, but with the amount of marketing that TKO and Zuffa Boxing are going to put behind themselves, you're going to watch these other belts become slowly irrelevant. Well, you'll see it over the next 10 years. They will just wash away and become slowly irrelevant. I don't care for boxing. Neither do I. I think it's horrible. Either way, there is going to be all those other... Why have I read that twice? I'm an idiot. How are you, Fart Mouth University? Good for you, man. Sup, Edgy's Corner. I'm not really that edgy, to be honest, mate. I'm a pretty normal creator, brother. I'm not really that. I realize right now I'm sitting in a Wang Half hoodie. But that's because I just ran in from the gym. I know, I realize I'm in a Wang Half hoodie right now, but I'm trying to do serious breaking MMA journalism while wearing a Wang Half hoodie. This is why Luke Thomas should cover the journalism and I should cover the memes. Doug, you should start your own promotion. No, complete waste of time. Although maybe we could make Lethway amazing in the West. Past the House, now the Senate has to vote. I'm not sure how the American judicial system works, but I believe this was the final hurdle. Is this not the Senate committee? The Senate committee? Is that it? I think that's it, right? That's all it has to do. This is the last step. The only thing that's got to happen is it's got to be signed. Let me check in with Luke Thomas. Let's see him cover everything. He's done a good job covering this. The committee is in recess. No. Amendment is agreed to. The amendment requires a baseline of 2 ambulances, 2 doctors to be proportionate for all boxing matches. Yeah, that's fine. Things can always change. Good thread. Tomorrow is the House and Education Workforce Committee markup of the Ali Act. If there are any changes to the bill, if they get introduced, YouTube link to watch next. I believe this is the last thing that needed to get past Combat Catholic. How are you guys? Are Zuffa boxers not allowed to get other belts? No, they're going to be locked into Zuffa boxing. It's going to work the exact same way as the UFC. That's what makes this so significant. Let's start Dougie's Corner fight. No. You're sitting on a No, I don't think I am, Fartmouth University. Said hi, Dougie 2 times and Fartmouth gets acknowledged. I said hi to you, MMA Master. Did I not? I'm sorry, MMA Master. How are you, man? Good to see you. YouTube is just censoring shit for no reason. It does that. It's annoying. What have I missed? 2 things. The bill passed. Number 1, Bilal, the bill has passed. So it looks like TKO and the Ali Act is going to go forward. Zuffa boxing is going to be a thing. The bill passed. 30 yeses, 4 nos. And the PFL are in absolute shambles. Don Davis has left the PFL and Jake Paul have all left the PFL as well. Don Davis has left the PFL and so has Jake Paul. Nick Shirley versus the Channel 5 guy, who wins? I don't know who you're talking about. Tough series for the next US president. That is how it should work, yeah. The legislative branch has 2 houses. Okay, Combat Catholic, but was this the upper house or the lower house? Dougie, what would you study in Fartmouth University? Ooh, probably how the American legal system works. Luke Thomas is sus. Luke Thomas is sus, but he's a good journalist. One Nation is polling higher than Labour and Liberal for the first time ever. You gotta love it. They'll probably outlaw One Nation 2 next, right? We should support Luke Thomas's political views more. We absolutely shouldn't. I'm still not understanding, does this mean we now have UFC boxing events? So the reason why the UFC is the way that it is, Shyla, is because the UFC doesn't allow its fighters to go and fight for the PFL. It doesn't allow its fighters to go and fight for Cage Warriors. Once you sign up with the UFC, you have to fight just for the UFC. Also, the UFC is allowed to be its own promoter and is allowed to hold its own titles and it's allowed to have its own rankings. In boxing, it doesn't work that way. In boxing, the titles are independent of the promoter. promoters, and the rankings are controlled independently as well. Essentially, the fighter owns their own rankings in boxing, which is why we see so many different boxing organizations and so many different belts, because it's just an absolute mess. What this law is doing is putting on a framework onto the old law where Zuffa, TKO, the UFC, the company that owns the UFC, the mother company of the UFC, are going to be able to have their own belts, their own promotion, their own rankings. They're also going to be able to hire or sign up new boxers and keep them locked into their own little bubble. So the way that MMA works is now coming over to boxing. Study the art of the fart. That's a good idea, Fartmouth University. Both houses of representatives and the Senate has to pass the bill in order for it to be sent to the president. So was this the House of Representatives that it was in today or the Senate? I'm not sure, Combat Catholic. Also, is this just a quickie? Absolutely, this is just a quickie. Dana is going to make boxing great again. The TKO might make boxing great again. If it's only passed the committee, that means like 15 or 20 people in the House have agreed on it. The bill hasn't even been proposed to for a vote. So it's still another thing to go, Combat Catholic. All right. Francis will never fight in MMA again. So I find this very interesting. I find this very, very interesting. If this is only passing in the committee, and it still has to go to the House, that means that the UFC or TKO are running this boxing event with fighters signed up on Paramount before it's even fucking legal. That's how sure they are they have control over this. And doesn't that mean what they're doing right now, like this weekend on Saturday night, is an illegal organization? Like, how can they have this Zuffa boxing thing go ahead if it hasn't even passed through everything yet? Francis will never fight in MMA again. You never know. He might do a one-off show at something like Misfits Boxing. Druggy's Corner. He's out here slinging KOs. True, mate. How many belts do you think Zuffa will have? I think they'll follow the UFC. I think they'll have 10 divisions. 10 division, that is it. I don't think Zuffa Boxing will be successful. The old boxing fans aren't retarded like us and don't want to watch silent events from the meta Apex. I do think it will be successful over 10 years. I think it will slowly grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, Nacho. I do think long-term it'll be successful. The House of the Representatives has 500 members. Okay, all right, I understand, yeah. The PFL is going broke sooner than we expected. It does seem to be going broke sooner than we expected. Last year, they got rid of the $1 million. They've made it $500,000. This year, I don't even think they're doing the tournament this year. I think they're just doing regular matchmaking or Grand Prix. And yeah, Don Davis has left. Jake Paul has left. Francis Ngannou, remember, he was trying to leave as well. Where was this news? Francis Ngannou was trying to see if he could get himself back into the UFC. You can't study American politics in Fartmouth University. You can only start fart-related things. Okay, maybe I'll learn how to take over the world using just farts. Gene Silver has a KO fetish. He goes full Cosby after a KO. Rumor has it he doesn't be... I don't know what you're saying. It goes from committee to approval, House vote, Senate vote, presidential signature. Okay, so we are at the committee approval. So now we are going to House vote. Thank you, Combat Catholic. I really do appreciate that, man. I'm not sure how American laws are made. Will this apply to other promotions? The amount of things that they have put in there for Zuffa Boxing to become a UBO, which is what they're calling it, are insane. Essentially, you need to have something like the UFC PI set up to have something like Zuffa Boxing exist. The reason why a company like Golden Gloves won't be able to go and make their own UBO is because Golden Gloves would need to open up their own version of the PI. They would need to do their own drug testing, which is what the UFC does. Like, everything that the UFC has, they're going to bring over to Zuffa Boxing, and Golden Gloves would need to go and set all of that up to be allowed to become its own UBO, essentially. The way that the bill has worked is pretty much set up so that only TKO and Zuffa Boxing would be able to do this. Can you hold my hand while I finish peeing? Yeah, anything you need, Fartmouth. Illegal? Are the fighters Mexican? Well, this is why I don't understand it, right? Because it hasn't been signed by Donald Trump yet. So this UBO can't exist. Like, these fighters can't be on exclusive contracts with Zuffa Boxing. Yet they are going ahead with their show this Friday night in America, Saturday morning in Australia. I wonder how many UFC fighters will transfer into boxing fights like Darren Tiller's a great boxer. Well, this is the thing. The UFC fighters want to transfer over to boxing because boxing pay is so much higher. I doubt that Zuffa Boxing's pay is going to be so much higher. I think what Zuffa Boxing are doing right now is they are signing up relatively low-ranked boxers that aren't making a lot of money anyway, and they're going to build them up while the older boxers like the Alexander Usyks and the Terence Crawfords, they age out and retire. And in 10 years' time, you will see that Zuffa Boxing will have all the talent, and all these old heads, they'll be out of the scene. I believe this is the business plan from TKO going forward. Nick versus Nate at the White House. Let's get it done, boys. Imagine being an investor in the UFC and watching Dana consistently fund and promote other combat sports like power slap and boxing. Well, you can't be an investor in the UFC. That's the thing. Like, there is no UFC on the stock market. It's the TKO. So watching TKO fund and promote other combat sports like power slap and boxing is actually good for you if you're an investor, because essentially the UFC has maxed out all their profitability growth within the MMA space, but all these other organizations, there's still huge room for growth there. So what TKO are doing from a business sense is incredibly clever. How are you, Mitch? Good to see you, man. I'm just parked somewhere in my car right now. Well, I'll give you the 2 bits of news so that you can pull over and get on with your day. The bill has passed the committee, which means now it needs to go up to the Senate, I believe, from Combat Catholic. So any pushback that could have come on Zuffa Boxing has been essentially passed. There's only been a few tweaks. Essentially, the fighters need to get paid $2,000 a month while they're waiting for their next fight to get signed. Second bit of breaking news. Don Davis has left the PFL, and Jake Paul has also broken all ties with the PFL as well. And this is coming off the back of Francis Ngannou looking to return to the UFC. So it seems like the PFL, which was essentially the UFC's only competition in the MMA space, is in complete fucking shambles. And TKO is going to be able to go ahead and get all their dreams achieved with boxing too. I can't wait for an Apex boring event. I can't wait to see how boxing looks in the Apex. I am going to try and watch that event. The greatest heavyweight boxers like Usyk and Fury will never join, so Zuffa heavyweight will never be as good. I don't think you guys are understanding the game here, hats off. You are right. Usyk, the greatest boxers like Usyk and Fury will never join Zuffa heavyweight. They are not going to be around forever. TKO is an established company on the stock market. It doesn't matter. The next 5 years does not matter. If Usyk and Fury, thank you for the $2, good noodle. I appreciate it, mate. Poopy poo, poopy pee, poopy peep. I haven't got the text-to-speech reader set up properly yet because I just did this as a quick little thing. Yeah, this thought here that you guys are talking about, where is it? The greatest boxers. This thought here that you guys are having. This is literally irrelevant. The TKO, thank you so much again for the $2, by the way. Good noodle, I really appreciate it. This is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. As long as Zuffa signs up all the talent now, in 10 to 15 years, it will be Zuffa Boxing. There's about 10 people that actually care about boxing fans. There's about 10 people that are actual boxing fans in the next 10 years. This is the thing. They're growing now. They're growing it now. And you'll see there's a reason that all the fighters are signed to 6-year contracts and they can't break out. They are going to build their own bubble over the next 10 to 15 years. That's exactly what they're going to do. And by then, Usyk and Fury will be doing those weird one-off events that Floyd Mayweather does now with Manny Pacquiao. That's what it's going to be. Have you ever done shrooms? Yes, several times in my life. We will be on in a few minutes. Nice. Of course, mate. That's what I'm here. No, thank you, Combat Catholic. I appreciate it. Dougie, did you see it? Indian guy got a power slap belt. It's a big deal for Indian combat sports. The best thing they could ever do. Get a slapping belt, sir. Get a slapping belt. I actually think Kayla versus Amanda would have been a really exciting fight. I disagree. I think there would have been a lot of grappling. I'm happy that it's not on the card. What is up, Jock? How are you, man? Just because Francis is open to the idea of coming back doesn't mean the UFC want to re-sign him. Oh, no. Dana White's been very clear. He does not want to sign Francis Ngannou. It just goes to show that everyone that had anything positive to say about the PFL are bouncing. They're all bouncing. Like the Jake Paul news came today with the Don Davis news. They're all getting off the sinking ship. There's about 10 people that are actually... I did the one. Jake Paul pulls out of a company under the scrutiny of a law change. Yeah, the law is getting passed. The law is absolutely getting passed. No matter what, boxing will always be a relevant sport because it's an Olympic sport. Yeah, it will be relevant. It will be relevant. But you're going to see that Zuffa Boxing is going to become the biggest name in boxing. Who was randomly calling you on Instagram and why was it Good Noodle? So you guys do share little war stories about the channel Off the Grid. I thought you did. I thought you guys shared your little war stories. All right. I know this was just a little quickie. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back after I go to work. I didn't know how to make a video on this. Dougie, can you read some Chris Duncan news? There is no Chris Duncan news. I knew it was him the minute you said it. Nah, he's a good dude. I like him. I didn't want to make a video on this because as this news was breaking, you can see that this news literally came out 31 minutes ago and the stream has been live for 25 minutes. Like as I was driving home, Luke Thomas was sending us updates and I wanted to do a story on this, but I had to go to work. And there was just no other way to cover it other than doing it live. There are so many Olympic sports that aren't relevant. I don't think that is a great argument. Yeah, but boxing has a huge history in combat sports. I think it'll be around forever. Chris Duncan news. Where low effort. There's going to be some Chris Duncan news. Okay, there might be some Chris Duncan news today. So, rather than making a video, because it was all happening at the same time, I thought I would just do it live. So that is the news. The PFL is a sinking ship. I do think there will be no PFL and the PFL won't exist by 2030. Everything does seem to still be pushing in that direction. And any pushback that the UFC or TKO were going to get on making their own boxing organization has happened. And essentially the only change being this one. The only change being that they must arrange a fight for their fighters every 6 months and pay their fighters $2,000 a month. This was a typo. $2,000 a month if they are waiting to get them a fight, and the contracts can only be 6 years. Apart from that, it looks like Zuffa Boxing is going to go ahead. I heard AJ rejected Zuffa Boxing before his accident. Yeah, I mean, they will. Like the big names, Fury, Usyk, Joshua, these guys are going to reject it. The old heads are going to reject it. Don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. In 15 years' time, in 10 years' time, they'll all be retired and Zuffa Boxing will have all the talent. Plus, it'll be on Paramount. It'll be on ESPN. Like, this Paramount deal is going on for 7 years. Do you know that there isn't a single American boxing organization that has a TV deal right now? Not a single American boxing organization has a TV deal right now. The rest of boxing happens on DAZN. Zuffa Boxing is going to be building on Paramount Plus for 6 years. You're going to watch a WWE event. You're going to watch a UFC event. You're going to be watching the football on Paramount Plus, the NFL on Paramount Plus. You're going to see Zuffa Boxing commercials. It's so over. It's so over for the other boxing companies. It's so over for them. That's that. We need to get Dana out of promoting the UFC. We absolutely do. We need to make Chael Sonnen the promoter of the UFC. Let Dana promote boxing. We do. Right, I got to go to work. That's a non-negotiable. It's 10 past 7. I have to go to work. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys in about 6-8 hours time. Don't worry, I'm here for you. Thank you, Meat Rocket. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours time, but that's the news. That's the news. The bill has passed through. Only a few more steps, but it essentially got no pushback. Take care, brother. See you soon. See you guys in a couple of hours. Have a great day. Have a great Arvo. Wherever you are, have a great one. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.